Hello everyone, welcome back to the fourth module of Life Skills. In part 1, we learned about groups, its formation, group consensus, group think, group decision making techniques, group problem solving, etc. In part 2, we will learn about teams, the formation of teams, types of teams, characteristics of effective teams, team performance management, entrepreneurship, and the differences between groups and teams. First of all, let's see what a team is. A team is a collection of individuals organized to accomplish a common purpose who are interdependent and who can be identified by themselves and observers as a team. Team exists within a large organization and interact with other teams and with the organization. Teams are one way for organizations to gather input from members and to provide organization members with a sense of involvement in the pursuit of organizational goals. Further, teams allow organizations flexibility in assigning members to projects and allow for cross-functional groups to be formed. Teams can be classified into 6 types, which include informal teams, traditional teams, problem-solving teams, leadership teams, self-directed teams, and virtual teams. Let's look at each one of them in detail. Informal team. Informal teams are generally formed for social purposes. They can help to facilitate employee pursuits of common concerns such as improving working conditions. More frequently, however, these teams form out of a set of common concerns and interests, which may or may not be the same as the organization. Leaders of these teams generally emerge from the membership and are not appointed by anyone in the organization. Traditional teams. Traditional teams are the organizational groups commonly thought of as departments or functional areas. Leaders or managers of these teams are appointed by the organization and have legitimate power in the team. The team is expected to produce a product, deliver a service, or perform a function that the organization has assigned. The next one is the problem-solving teams. Problem-solving teams or task forces are formed when a problem arises that cannot be solved within the standard organizational structure. These teams are generally cross-functional, that is, the membership comes from the different areas of the organization and are charged with finding a solution to the problem. Leadership teams. Leadership teams are generally composed of management brought together to span the boundaries between different functions in the organization. For a product to be delivered to the market, the heads of the finance, production, and marketing must interact and come up with a common strategy for the product. At top management levels, teams are used in developing goals and a strategic direction for the firm as a whole. Self-directed teams. Self-directed teams are given autonomy over deciding how a job will be done. These teams are provided with a goal by the organization and then determine how to achieve that goal. Frequently, there is no assigned manager or leader and very few, if any, status differences among the team members. These teams are commonly allowed to choose new team members, decide on work assignments, and may be given responsibility for evaluating team members. They must meet quality standards and interact with both buyers and suppliers, but otherwise have great freedom in determining what the team does. Teams form around a particular project and a leader emerges for that project. The team is responsible for carrying out the project, for recruiting team members, and for evaluating them. The last one is the virtual teams. A virtual team is a group of workers who communicate and work together using digital tools. While they can be located in the same physical space, virtual teams are often distributed, working remotely in different parts of the city, state, or country. Now let's see what are the characteristics of an effective team. The characteristics of an effective team are clear direction, clear responsibilities, knowledgeable members, reasonable operating procedures, interpersonal relationships, sharing success and failures, and external relationships. We have learned about the stages of group formation in part 1. The team development also contains 5 different stages which are similar to the stages of group development. The stages of team development are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Team performance management. Team performance management is a continuous process of evaluating the effectiveness of a team and varying and adjusting the factors that have been bearing on team performance. It is a structured process aimed at identifying, quantifying, and modifying team performance. It consists of planning, doing, adjusting, and rating and rewarding. In the planning stage, goals are set and individual success metrics defined. In the doing stage, goals are actively tracked and monitored and feedback is provided. In the adjusting stage, adjustments are made to overcome poor performance, and in rate and reward stage, performance is rated and good performance is rewarded. Now let's look at homogeneous teams and heterogeneous teams and the differences between them. The homogeneous team is a team in which team members share almost the same attributes such as skill, intellect, education, personal, demographic traits, etc. On the other hand, heterogeneous teams is the one in which individual members have different attributes. Now let's look at the difference between them. In homogeneous team, there will be a better initial rapport, whereas in heterogeneous team, there will be initial conflicts. In homogeneous team, there will be an easiness of communication, whereas in heterogeneous team, there will be a difficulty in communication. In homogeneous teams, there will be lesser conflicts, whereas in heterogeneous teams, there will be different perspectives. In homogeneous teams, there will be a paucity of ideas, whereas in heterogeneous teams, there will be more creativity. In homogeneous teams, there are chances of getting stuck, whereas in heterogeneous team, chances of being more productive in the long run. Entrepreneurship. Before moving on to entrepreneurship, let's see who are entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risk and enjoying most of the rewards. The entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, a source of new ideas, goods, services, and businesses and procedures. Entrepreneurs play a key role in any economy, using the skills and initiative necessary to anticipate needs and bring good new ideas to the market. Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, refers to a system that allows an employee to act like an entrepreneur within a company or other organization. Entrepreneurs are self-motivated, proactive, and action-oriented people who take the initiative to pursue an innovative product or service. An entrepreneur knows failure does not have a personal cost as it does for an entrepreneur, since the organization absorbs losses that arise from the failure. And entrepreneurship creates an entrepreneurial environment by allowing employees to use their entrepreneurial skills for the benefit of both the company and the employee. It gives the employees the freedom to experiment as well as the potential for growth within an organization. Entrepreneurship fosters autonomy and independence while attempting to find the best resolution. For example, an entrepreneurship may require an employee to research and recommend a more efficient workflow chart to a company's brand within a target group or implement a way to benefit company culture. Identifying entrepreneurs can sometimes be difficult. These employees are generally self starters who are both ambitious and goal oriented. They are often able to solve problems on their own and come up with ideas that lead to process improvements. Entrepreneurs can develop and use their creativity to enhance existing goods and services within the context of the business, all without any of the risk attached to being an entrepreneur. Using these skills as part of a team lets the entrepreneur test theories and determine which methods are most effective for solving problems. Entrepreneurs may use what they have learned as part of the organization's team to create their own company and reap the benefits of their hard work rather than letting another organization profit from their ideas. So far, we have learned about different aspects of groups and teams. Now let's analyze the difference between them. In groups, there will be individual contributions, whereas in team, there will be synergic contribution. In groups, there will be random skills, whereas in teams, there will be complementary skills. A group works towards a common goal, whereas team has a commitment to common goals. In groups, there is a less sense of ownership, whereas in teams, there is a great sense of ownership. In group, there is a limited scope of creativity, whereas in teams, there is an opportunity for creativity. In groups, there will be an individual responsibility, whereas in teams, there will be a collective responsibility. The groups will have a diverse culture, whereas the team will have a shared culture. Groups will have a shared interest, whereas teams will have a mutually agreed upon interest. Conflicts are common in a group, whereas teams have a lessened chance of conflict. The groups are accountable to group leader, whereas in teams there will be a mutual accountability. Groups will have more focus on individual rewards, whereas teams have more focus on shared rewards. In groups, there will be less interdependence, whereas in teams, there will be high interdependence. The groups will be controlled by a leader, whereas in teams, leader will act as a facilitator. There will be lesser coordination in groups, whereas there will be a greater coordination in teams. In groups, the familiarity among the members will be less, whereas in teams, there will be a greater familiarity among the members. In groups, there will be a limited trust, whereas the higher levels of trust can be seen in teams. With that, we have come to the end of module 4. Thank you all.